From Music City, USA, it's David Hooper and Music Business Radio.
From the TuneIn Broadcasting Studios in Nashville, Tennessee, this is Music Business Radio. I'm your host, David Hooper, and with me today, Jay Frank. He's the owner of DigSin, a singles-focused digital record label that allows subscribing fans to get music for free. He's also the author of Hack Your Hit, free and cheap marketing tips for musicians. Jay, welcome to Music Business Radio.
David, thanks for having me.
I should actually say welcome back to Music Business Radio. You were here a few years ago.
Yes, absolutely.
And we have that radio show online at musicbusinessradio.com. So last time we talked, you were Senior Vice President of Music Strategy at CMT.
Yes.
No longer.
Nope.
You struck out on your own. But before CMT, you were with Yahoo.
Yes.
Before that, you were with The Box. Kind of give them the quick and dirty on who is Jay Frank and your background in the music business.
Well, sure. I mean, I've been doing a lot in the music business now for over 20 years and actually been in digital music for close to 20 years at this point. And I used to joke that at some point I've done everything you can do in the music business, whether it's running a nightclub, a record company, music video channel, radio station. I used to say I did everything except be a music publisher. And then, of course, I strike out on my own, and now I'm a music publisher as well.
Here you are. So going out on your own, some people would say that this is not a good time for the music business. You see a lot of opportunity in the business. Talk about the transition from CMT. It's an established company. Why strike out on your own now?
Well, I think some of it is just personal. I had achieved a lot of success with my first book, Future Hit DNA, which was all about the structure of hit songs and how that was changing, and had a lot of people coming up to me for advice. Also, during that time, you just hear a lot of people saying, well, the record company model's broken. The record company model's broken. And I'm the kind of person that when I hear something like that, I say, well, then there's a fix. And what's the fix? And over a couple of years, I just kept coming back to that question, kept filtering some ideas of what I felt the perfect record company model would be if it was built in 2012. And then at some point, I just said, I should do this, and I said, would I regret it if I never tried? And the minute that I said I'd regret it if I didn't give it a shot, was the minute that I just took the plunge.
That's the time to jump in. So you've done it, DigSin, and it's at digsin.com.
That's right.
And talk about the model. I mentioned it earlier. You're actually giving away music for free.
That's right. And everybody tells me that somehow doesn't seem like a right model if I'm giving away music. But the truth is that right now people get music in a multitude of different ways. The hardest part is, how does any new artist or new song cut through everything? It's physically possible for you as an individual to only listen to 5% of recorded music that comes out in any given week. So the true hurdle is not, how can I make money in this new digital age? The true hurdle is, how do I get heard in this digital age? And once you get heard, and once you achieve some popularity, once people know who you are, once people actually are familiar and like the song, from that point forward, some people like to get their songs for free. Some people like to stream it in a environment that we get royalties for, like YouTube or Spotify, and some people buy it on iTunes. But the real hurdle is really about just getting over that marketing hump of, how do I get my artist to be known above every other artist? And that's how we attack every single day. I don't worry about the dollars, because I know that if I have a song that becomes a hit, the dollars will follow it. So what I worry about is, what marketing steps can we take to make our artists popular?
So let's dive into the business model a little bit deeper, because something like an office costs money. They're not just worried about publicity of an artist, right? They don't cash that at the bank. So how is it that the money is made? That's not the thing that you're worrying about first, but it comes on the back end, and describe that.
Well, the money is made because, first off, the way that we structure our deals is we work with the artist on a song-by-song level. We sign artists to singles deals. We don't sign them to album deals, largely because when you look at the bulk of the revenues that have disappeared from the recorded music business, they've almost all come from the loss in album sales. Music on a song-by-song level, on the other hand, is actually making more money than it ever has before, and certainly making more money when you also put into the prospective publishing. So what we deal with is what I call the 360 of a song versus the 360 of the artist. So all of our deals involve around promoting a song, so we capture the revenues that are involved in that song, and that includes master and publishing. Through that enables us to more strategically market the songs in any way possible, so that we can be able to monetize it through multiple streams. Maybe one song is going to get heavy airplay on the radio but doesn't sell. That's okay, because we can monetize through publishing. One other song might never get played on the radio but gets sync opportunities on television. Another song might do really well all over radio and sell sell but not get synced at all. And that's kind of where we're at, is we have a diversified enough model that we can have multiple artists creating revenue in multiple different ways, and we're able to go and capture that. But once the song becomes popular in its own way, then we know exactly where to go to capture that revenue.
You're listening to Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the music business. I'm talking with Jay Frank. He's the owner of DigSin, a singles-focused digital record label that allows subscribing fans to get music for free. It sounds like this is kind of the anti-record label if you think about it. I always hear the word indentured servitude. When we think about record labels and artists, they sign artists to 12 album deals at the record label option. They'll have these guys in there for 30 or 40 years, it seems like. And you do it by the song, do it 6 songs at a time, actually.
That's correct. In general, one of the things that I think most artists fear more than anything is being stuck in a deal that they can't get out of. And I took a look and said, if we know that these songs are the right songs and we really feel passionate that these songs have a high chance of success in the marketplace, then how is it that we can't monetize it? We should be able to monetize it very, very easily. And I just wanted to create a situation where artists don't feel into that place of indentured servitude, that they know that it's something that if we want to sign them to another 6 songs, then we have to prove ourselves. We have to be doing things in a much different way. So for us, it's really about understanding that it's not just what I need as a business, but what does the artist need to make themselves be happy, and try to find that perfect point that will be something that proves to be successful for both us and the artist.
How do you find these artists? I think that with the old school record model, they would have them under kind of a lock and key and a long contract because they were afraid of doing the work and then having the artist leave. You're obviously not afraid about that. It takes a certain type of artist to kind of stick it out with you and have that kind of good relationship. So how do you find these guys?
Well, we tend to find them by a multitude of different passions. Some we found by scouring the internet. I signed one artist because they just accosted me on Twitter and we started up a conversation. Another artist we found through, I knew the manager for a long time. So there's not one particular way that we're finding the artists.
And what does the artist have to have in place in order to really get your attention? Do they have to be touring? Do they need just songs?
First and foremost, it's a great song. I usually say that the signing process goes like this, in that within 4 minutes, I know whether or not I want to sign them. Basically, listen to the song and I'll know by the end of that song. Whether or not I actually sign them is a whole different process, because it's actually getting to know who they are and what kind of person they are. Do they have to be active on touring? Yes. Do they have to be active on social networking? Yes. And that's one of the things that's most important. I look at some of these artists and they're extremely talented and they write a great song, but if they're not the kind of person who's going to engage on social networking, then it's very difficult for me to work with them, because that is a key component to be breaking new artists nowadays. When you can't rely on mass media and you need the groundswell of actual fan support, you have to have an artist who's willing to go along for the journey and aggressively work social media with the strategies that we utilize to be able to make that point. So in a lot of ways, the personality of the artist and what they can do is just as important as their musical talent.
Live or social media, which do you feel is more important?
I think equally as important, but it varies per artist. Some artists need to have the live performance and the live touring base down pat, and other artists need to just be extremely aggressive on social media. I don't think it's a one or the other. It's very, very artist specific. What I can say is that when you are in the developing stage, you need to have at least one of those. And if you don't have either of them, then you're not going to be successful. And certainly ones that succeed in both of them have the highest likelihood to be able to make it work. And in looking at both of our the 2 acts that have been most successful for us right out of the gates, Jenn Bostic and Bronze Radio Return, both of them have excelled in both mediums. They're both amazing at social media, they're amazing at connecting with fans, and they go out and tour as many dates as they possibly can, and it shows, because each time they go into a market, they're drawing more and more people, and they're amazing those fans who are then going and telling other friends, and they're talking about it on social media. So certainly for us, the key to success is those artists that can excel in both mediums.
You mentioned Jenn Bostic. She's actually sitting here with us in the studio. When we come back, we're going to talk to her and actually have her play live to find out what it's like to work with DigSin. Bronze Radio Return. Why don't we go out with them? I'll let you introduce this, Jay.
Absolutely. Well, we've been experiencing a lot of great success with their song Shake, 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 which just grew and grew online and eventually found its way into shows like American Idol and was also used in a Nissan Leaf campaign, and has been a great big hit for them. So it's been awesome watching it.
Bronze Radio Return, Shake, Shake, Shake on Music Business Radio.
Line the room. You find a drink and drain the glass as fast as you can think to. The cheap perfume. In a room of people watching it intoxicate you. They start to play. Then they start to play. It shakes the floor. Your ears, but this is what we trade our hearing for. The crowd stands still. No one's moving, they just rather stand and wait until someone starts to move. Someone starts to move. Shake, 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 that's all that you make of it. Take what you will. Now, 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 only mistake is if you start still. So shake, 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 that's all what you make of it. Break it into. You know, now, now, the only mistake is if you start still. It's only up to you. It's only up to you. Forget yourself. This room is hot, but we can make it hotter with your help. I'll dance with you. We'll dance together until everybody's moving to and everybody moves. When everybody moves. Shake, shake, shake. Oh, what you make of it. Take what you will. No, no, no. Only mistake is if you stand still. So shake, shake, shake. That's all what you make of it. Break it until you know, no, no. Only mistake is if you stand still. It's only up to you. It's only up to you. It's only up to you. It's only up to you.
Hi, this is Lisa Marie Presley, and you're listening to Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the biz.
Wednesday, September 18th through Sunday, September 22nd, Nissan presents the Americana Music Festival and Conference. Be part of Nashville's most comprehensive music festival and music business convention. Over 40 conference panels featuring the best and brightest in the business. Over 135 bands and artists will perform, including J.D. McPherson, The Devil Makes Three, Ashley Monroe, The Lone Bellow, and Houndmouth.
Where did all the world go? It ain't what you got, it's what you made.
Admission to the conference includes priority access to all club shows and panels, along with a ticket to the hottest show in town, the 12th Annual Americana Honors and Awards Ceremony, Wednesday, September 18th at the historic Ryman Auditorium. This show will include performances by Stephen Stills, Dr. John, Shovels and Rope, plus Rodney Crowell and Emmylou Harris.
You took the left.
If you are in the business of music or just love it, this is a must-attend event. For more information, go to americanamusic.org.
Thanks to you, the sun. Put the gun down, put the gun down. I'm the set fire to the whole damn house. Put it down, put it down, put it down, put it down. Oh,
Hey, it's ZZ Ward, and you're listening to Music Business Radio.
This is Music Business Radio from the TuneIn Broadcasting Studios in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm David Hooper, your host, and with me today, Jay Frank, the owner of DigSin Records. It's a digital record label. They concentrate on singles. They don't sign artists. We do sign artists, but it's not the album deals, it's the song deals. So let's talk about some of the artists that you signed. Bronze Radio Return, we heard them on the way out. Shake, Shake, Shake is the song. I've actually heard that on our flagship station, WRLT, so I know it's gotten radio play. Talk about how you got in touch with them, how you signed them, and the success you've had.
Their manager, Chris Maltese, has been a friend of mine for several years, and as soon as he heard that I was starting up a record company, he said, hey, I'm working with this band. I just started working with them a couple of months ago. Can you check them out? And it was one of those things that it got into my library, and immediately you just heard the song craft, you heard the musicianship, it just all shone through. And I just called him up immediately and said, okay, what can we do? And within a week, we were signed and getting ready to have them as one of our initial artists. Along the way, it's been a long process, but I think that's the way it is with all of our artists. When you look at major record companies, it takes them anywhere from 9 months to 2 years to break the first single for a new artist that nobody's ever heard of. And I always say, if it takes a major record company with resources and dollars that long, how long is it going to take us? So everything that we do is we take a very, very patient process to be able to grow it. And that's what we've done with Bronze Radio, and we spent the better part of 2012 just building up their audience, getting more people to come out to see their shows, because they definitely impress most when you see them live. And through that, then they slowly started acquiring a lot of sync opportunities, with their song being on American Idol, HBO, ESPN. And then the breakthrough moment came when their song got asked to be used for the worldwide spot for the Nissan Leaf in the fall of 2012. It was just an amazing opportunity. It exposed the band all over the world. We're now selling downloads in about 40 different countries as a result of that spot. And once that happened, we looked at their online numbers and we looked at the video, and we said, this is the time for us to now take this to radio. We now have enough of a story. We recognize that radio stations are big business, and you can't just go to many radio stations and just say, hey, this song is great, would you play it? You need to have a story, because you need to give the radio station something in return for them giving you airtime. And at that point, we had a story and we brought it to them. And, as a result, we're now on about 60 different radio stations nationwide in the U.S., starting to get reports of radio stations around the world who are starting to give them play, and their story just grows and grows.
I think it's beyond the story, too, in that you guys had a proven song. People loved it through the synchronization things that you did, and they were already buying it. So I imagine radio was probably quick to jump on that. Well,
that's part of our model, too, is that we do not want to go to major media outlets without knowing that the song has the highest of likelihoods to be a hit. Like I have a motto, which is that if I'm going to spend more than $1,000 in marketing dollars, I want to have an 80 to 90% assurance rate that I'm going to make that money back. And most people don't. Then record companies that say, well, we're supposed to go to radio, and they spend that money even if there's no shot of that record being played. On the other hand, when we invest money and we invest our time, we're investing it because we look at the odds and we say, you know what, they are in our favor for us to make this shot happen.
When do you know when it won't work? Bronze Radio Return was a success story. You've had, I imagine, some that haven't been as successful. How do you know when it's time to just cut bait?
Well, what we do is we look to putting the artist out there, and we measure a multitude of metrics. One of the greatest things right now is the new social networking world gives us so much feedback and so much data as to how people are interacting with our music. So we look on a weekly basis extensively at Facebook. We look extensively at YouTube numbers. We look extensively at Google numbers. And we see where the activity is coming from and how the activity is going. And what we need to do is as a motto is every week needs to be bigger than the previous week. And as long as we know that we're growing with something every single week, then it's important to keep going. And one of the key metrics is, quite honestly, sharing. Is we look to see that when somebody hears a song, are they sharing it with their friends? Because if they're not going to talk about it, then it's going to be very difficult for us to break it without spending millions of dollars, which we don't have. So for us, it's very clear that if we see more and more people sharing this music on social networks and throughout YouTube, then we know that we've got a high likelihood of hits. We don't have 100% batting average, and we do know that that's one of the key factors that we find in the songs that don't work is no matter how much people like it, they don't share it. And if they're not sharing it, it's not a hit.
Can you give some advice of a strategy for an independent artist, no record label affiliation? What is the one thing or maybe a couple things that they need to look for if they're not maybe as skilled at looking at the online metrics as you are?
I think the biggest thing that they have to look at is themselves, and they have to take a real approach at looking at the very top level information they have in front of them. We have a motto for us internally in signing an act that if I can't convince my staff, and I have a small staff of 5 people, If I can't convince my staff that this artist is good, then I'm not going to convince the world. Similarly, if you're an artist and you can't convince your friends and family that that's the best song they've ever heard, you're not going to convince the world. So I like to just say, as a starting point, just bring it out to those that are closest to you and recognize that they're always going to talk about your song one level better than what they actually think. If they go and say that your song is great, that just means it's merely good. You have to get to the point where they're actually saying, that's the best song I've ever heard you make. Now you got a fighting shot.
Yeah, I love that. We have so many people that send in demos to the show, and if you actually talk to them, I do through social media and things just like you do. Well, my mom says it's great. You could tell they've done it for 10 or 12 years, and they've had a bunch of yes men around them, and sometimes that's not always accurate.
That's right. And the truth is that your data online is going to say that. And that's, again, it's the key component. If you put up a song on YouTube and your friends and family like it enough to go for them to put it on their Facebook pages, then you've got something. Because they're willing to go and say, not only do I like this and not only are you my friend, but I want to share this to the rest of the world.
Measurement eliminates argument. And that's also something you could take to a record label, to licensing, or to even to sync deals. Say, hey, this thing's already got some legs on it. It's going to help sell your product.
That's exactly right. I mean, again, everybody wants to know the story. Because there are so many songs out there. What's going to differentiate your song from somebody else? What's going to differentiate your artistry from something else? And the reality is that there's a very fine line, because every individual thinks about the artist different. What makes the difference is the story. And if you can combine the powerful song with a story, whether it's an industry story or a personal story like Jenn Bostic does, then you're going to get a much deeper level of connection, which is going to allow you a much greater chance of success.
This is Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the music business. I'm David Hooper, your host. With me today, Jay Frank, the owner of DigSin, a singles-focused digital record label that allows subscribing fans to get music for free. I want to take it back to sync licensing, which is, as people know, this is like film and television. It's where you sync video with your audio, your songs. How do you do it? How do you get the attention of film and TV music supervisors and advertising agencies? You mentioned earlier that you can't even listen to 5% of all the music that's out there. So how do you break through the noise with these sync people?
Persistence, for one. And you can't have an attitude where no is an acceptable answer. Not that you're going to go and beat down the same person 20 times, but you have to realize you're going to get rejected a whole lot to find the one opportunity that's going to work for you. So for us, we work with some very talented people at a company called Primary Wave. There are many other companies that artists can go and affiliate themselves with. Some as simple as Audio Socket Online, Music Dealers Online. They're really good. And you evaluate the opportunities and you wait for the right opportunity. One of the interesting things with Jenn Bostic, her song "Jealous of the Angels" is our biggest song that we've released to date, and we've worked with to date. And the interesting thing about that song is it's tough to place that in the film and TV world because it's a very emotional song about the death of her father. Certainly not something that many people are going to want to use to sell a product, nor do we want that to be something that's going to sell a product. But we also know that when the right situation comes along, that song will be the perfect song at that perfect opportunity. And that's kind of what is the best approach, is to realize that every song is about finding a unique opportunity, and it might be 1 in 100,000, 1 in a million before that opportunity comes up.
Sounds very similar to what you said about breaking a single. It's a long-term strategy. If it doesn't hit in 9 months, that doesn't mean that it's a bad song.
No, you have to, when you know that something is going to work, you have to be persistent to be able to find that opportunities. I mean, I think with Jen, it probably took us a year before we got our first sync placement for the song. But the thing is that once it gets started, then it starts going down a much deeper road, and then it starts spilling out for the artist. Jen's music has now gotten to be, so big that there's now one of the major TV shows is now looking to place several of her songs in their shows, and that show is syndicated across multiple countries. It is a time-consuming process, and it is a process where you have to take rejection very, very well. But once it does come in, it's something that just starts to snowball.
Rejection. That's something you have to deal with if you're in the music business. It comes with the territory. So I love your thoughts on how do you deal with rejection, especially for an artist when they're writing the songs and they're so emotionally attached to what they're putting out.
You don't hold on to it. And rejection nowadays comes in many forms. It's not just the sync placement folks, the music supervisor saying we don't want your song. It's the radio station saying we don't want to play your record. It's the person online who gives you a thumbs down on your YouTube video. It's the person who writes a really nasty comment to you on Twitter. Rejection comes in multiple forms, in multiple ways. Some of it comes to us as a label. Some of it comes directly to the artist. And they're hurtful. But the only way to really deal with it is to let it roll off you, because the reality is that for every one person who might have a negative impact, there's somebody else out there who you know is having a positive impact. And so what you stay focused on is saying, can I identify who is positively impacted by this music, and can I focus all my energy in just giving that music to them?
Well, and as I said earlier, measurement eliminates argument. I remember when you launched this label, reading Billboard, and there were comments. Oh boy, Jay's starting a record label. You had the naysayers even before you'd even started it, and here you are with the success. So now you can go back and
absolutely
stick your tongue out.
Well, I don't honestly. I don't have time to stick my tongue out, nor do I really care to. And in a lot of ways, we're successful, and I still am not at the level of success that I want to be. We have many yards down the field to go on that point. But you're absolutely right. The negative comments stung, but I let them sting for a minute, and I just swept it off and stayed focused on business at hand.
Well, we've been talking a lot about Jenn Bostic, and she's right here in between us. Jenn, welcome to Music Business Radio.
Thanks for having me.
So we've also been talking about Jealous of the Angels and the success you've had with this. When we come back, would you mind playing that for us?
Absolutely, that'd be great.
All right. Well, Jenn Bostic here on Music Business Radio with Jay Frank. He's the owner of DigSin, a singles-focused digital record label that allows subscribing fans to get music for free. We're going to have Jenn play for us when we come back on Music Business Radio.
This is Neela from the Lumineers. You're listening to Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the music biz.
Are you so busy you seem to never have time to give back to your community? Lightning 100 wants to make it easy for you. Join us Wednesday, August 28th from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the American Red Cross Donation Center at 2201 Charlotte Avenue. Right now, the need for blood and platelet donations is at an all-time high. Take an hour, give blood, and give the gift of life. Join us Wednesday, August 28th for this American Red Cross Emergency Blood Drive. For more information, visit TeamGreenAdventures.com, Lightning100.com, or call 1-800-RED-CROSS.
My name is Miko, an artist on MySpace Records /DGC. You can visit me at mikomusic.com, and you're listening to Music Business Radio.
You're listening to Music Business Radio from Nashville, Tennessee. My name is David Hooper. I'm your host, and with me today, Jay Frank. He's the owner of DigSin, a singles-focused digital record label that allows subscribing fans to get free music. He's also the author of Hack Your Hit, free and cheap marketing tips for musicians. With us today, Jenn Bostic. She's signed to the label DigSin. Jenn, welcome to Music Business Radio.
Thanks.
We've been talking about you the whole show. Now it's time to get the behind the scenes on it. Jay, how did you find her?
I found Jenn a little more than 3 years ago. After I wrote my first book, Future Hit DNA, I was asked to judge some songwriting competitions, and one was a songwriting competition in Europe. And Jenn was the first artist who won that particular round, and I heard the song and was blown away. And at first I said, and at the time she was doing pop country music. And I'm working as the senior vice president at CMT, and I said, my goodness, who is this fantastic country artist living over in Europe, and how can I get in touch with them? And then I go and I do some research, only to find out that she lives in the Gulch of Nashville, like not even 5 minutes away from my office. I said, what are the odds? So I reached out to her, and over the course of a year, we just became friends and was just helpful with just general advice. And through that process, kind of discussed the country music business and recognizing that while Jenn is an amazing writer and can write some amazing country songs, that from an artistic standpoint she's much broader. And I started helping her focus towards a little bit more of a pop direction, and just the songs and the performances just kept getting better and better. At that point, I signed her to a more traditional publishing deal, and along the way of developing things within that publishing deal, I knew I was going to come out and do this record label. And so along the way, as I did that, I basically said, well, can I help out and actually market you as if you're on my record label while we're in this publishing deal? And she said, well, of course, if you're going to have some help on that front. So we've had this kind of special, unique arrangement that's kind of predates the actual formation of my company. And with the help of her manager, Todd Hensley, the three of us have kind of been this triumvirate of resources that's just been great to just take all of the ideas that I had for the record label and actually start putting them into practice before I even really officially started the record label.
So, Jen, did you feel like kind of an experiment?
In a way, but in a great way. I mean, I was independent artist sitting in my bedroom writing songs, and then all of a sudden Jay calls me up and says, hey, I want to help you out, I want to mentor you, I want to pitch your songs, whatever. And it just became this just great relationship. He helped me learn the value in things like the music video, which we did, maybe a year after we started working together, and then social media, just how to keep that consistent and to really see results and connect with the fans through that.
Jen, are you from Nashville originally?
No, I'm originally from Minnesota, and I studied at Berklee College of Music in Boston, Massachusetts for 4 years, and then moved here about 6 years ago.
And that was to be a country and western singer.
At the time, I was doing pop country, and I think I had been a little bit jaded about like the small box that I was, had to fit into in order to make things work. And I think over the course of the last 5 or 6 years, I've really, with Jay's help, been able to unfold who I am as an artist and really write songs that mean a lot to me and have significant passion in my life. And that's where Jealous of the Angels came from. And to be able to see that develop the way that it has, it's been amazing.
And were you also working, when you first got here, within the major label system?
I had a couple of label meetings, but for the most part, I was just trying to figure it out. I did an independent album called Keep Looking for Love that I put out in 2009. I just did that with a friend from college, and I was just trying to figure out, what to do here, find my feet.
Finding your voice as an artist. So why Nashville?
Well, upon graduation at Berklee, it was kind of New York, LA, and Nashville were the big music meccas. And so at the time I was doing pop country music, and that was kind of my niche up there. And so I'd come down here a few times on the Berklee spring break trip and met some people, and I just felt like it was a good fit at the time. And I still feel like it's an amazing fit. I love it here. From a small town in Minnesota, I cannot imagine myself living in Los Angeles or New York, but they're nice places to visit.
Yeah,
well,
absolutely.
And especially and then the reverse was then, you went out to LA to record Jealous of the Angels with Barrett Uretzian, and that, and that's a real big full dose of the LA music experience.
Absolutely.
So how did recording Jealous of the Angels in Los Angeles differ from what you do here in Nashville? What compare and contrast Nashville and LA?
Well, in my particular experience, it was a much more intimate experience in Los Angeles. I worked with Barrett Uretzian, like we talked about, who's most well known for Jar of Hearts for Christina Perri, and he and I just spent a lot of time working on me playing the piano and me working on the vocals, and a lot of the strings and things like that were done afterwards. And I think during my experience in Nashville recording, I wasn't playing the piano. I was just responsible for singing and singing backgrounds. And I think I got a chance to really connect with what we were doing, like the whole recording process, better in Los Angeles. But I've loved what I've done here, and it's been amazing to watch these piano players just play circles around me. But it's been a really great learning experience in both places.
Well, we're going to give you a chance literally right now to connect, and you will be playing the piano that you brought with you. And congratulations, by the way. You've got 1.3 million views of this song that I'm going to have you play here.
Thank you so much. It's been such a blessing to watch that grow.
So we're going to help that out. This is Jenn Bostic on Music Business Radio. She's going to play Jealous of the Angels.
Didn't know today would be our last, that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb, I can't feel anymore. Praying you just walk back through that door and tell me that I was only dreaming, not really gone as long as I believe there will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. You always made my troubles feel so small. You were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight, singing hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight.
Jenn Bostic on Music Business Radio right here in our studios. Jealous of the Angels is the song. Check out that video online. Go to youtube.com, Jealous of the Angels, Jenn Bostic, 1.3 million views. Congratulations again. That was fantastic, Jen.
Thank you so much.
I can see where that song would really connect, and you've had success beyond YouTube.
Yeah, that song is really close to my heart. It's about my dad who passed away in a car accident when I was 10 years old. And to be honest, when I wrote it, I had no idea that people would connect the way that they did. It's such a personal song, and I just thought I had written it that way. And to my surprise, it's been absolutely incredible to just see people connect with it and tell me their stories of loss at shows. I mean, without fail, at every show, someone will come up and tell me that they've been touched by the song. And last May, there was a radio station in the United Kingdom called Smooth Radio, and they have a program called Our Tune with Simon Bates. And someone sent the song in, they'd seen it on YouTube, they sent it in with their story of loss, and the radio station played it, and that week our numbers just jumped in the UK. And so Jay and I had talked about, okay, well, let's just see. This could be a fluke, let's see what happens. They continued to play it, and the numbers continued to go up, and I started seeing things on social media. People started reaching out saying, I heard your song, here's my story, and I was getting emails, and it was such a beautiful thing. And then the station called my manager and said, our phones have never been off the hook like this. Like, they're ringing like crazy for this song. Everybody wants to know, who it's by and everything. So that has just been such an overwhelming blessing that has happened for us. And I just got back from a 3-week tour over there, and it's just been a really incredible experience.
You've been a musician for a while. You attended college for music at Berklee College of Music. Did you ever think that it would happen like this?
No. I don't know if I really had a clear vision as to how it would happen. I just knew that for me, music was it. And my dad kind of instilled that in me when I was young. And it's been a really interesting journey. Like I said, at one point, I thought I was going to be this big pop country superstar, and that is not the case at all. So,
well, I think it's a great song, and you mentioned how it connects with people. I know it connects with people live. Everybody in the studio here, we got like tears rolling down our eyes, but it connects on a social media level as well. As I mentioned, 1.3 million views on YouTube, and some of the comments, the very top comments were like, my father just passed away 2 weeks ago, and this really helped me through it. It's amazing. So Jenn Bostic on Music Business Radio, she signed to DigSin, and with me, the owner of DigSin, Jay Frank. It's a singles-focused digital record label that allows subscribing fans to get the music for free. When we come back, I'm going to talk to Jenn, I'm going to talk to Jay about the strategy behind what they're doing with music. We're going to get the nitty-gritty. That's next on Music Business Radio.
Hi, this is Joe DiMessina, and you're listening to Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the biz. Run away! No. You don't want to know! The stuff you think you want to know.
Lightning 100's Live on the Green concert series, 6 weeks of free live music at Public Square Park, presenting national artists sharing the stage with some of Music City's very best. Join us this Thursday for week number 4, featuring the Music City return of Robert Randolph and the Family Band.
Red, yellow, black or white, it don't matter. We all getting down tonight.
Joe Robinson. Red Bull Sound Select artist St. Paul and the Broken Bones. VIP tickets are on sale now while they last at liveonthegreen.net. Stay tuned to Lightning 100 for your chance to win VIP tickets. Live on the Green is powered by Piedmont Natural Gas, Illuminati Tribe, Regents Bank, Sweetwater Brewing, Erie Insurance, Griffin Technology, and proudly presented by Nashville's independent radio, Lightning 100.
Hi, everybody. This is Todd Rundgren, and you're listening to Music Business Radio.
From Nashville, Tennessee, it's Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the music business. My name is David Hooper. I'm your host, and with me today, Jay Frank, the owner of DigSin, a singles-focused digital record label that allows subscribing fans to get music for free. He's also the author of Hack Your Hit, free and cheap music tips for musicians. Jay, we really haven't gone into that because you've got such a great story with what's happening with the label, but I know you've got a free chapter that people can get, and what's the website for that?
They can go to hackyourhit.com or futurehitdna.com. So
hackyourhit.com, because that's got some great tips for marketing, and let's dive into the marketing. Jen, I'm going to get you in on this too. Strategy. Now, it seems that part of the strategy is just getting a good song that people talk about. I love what Jen said in the last segment about somebody giving the song to BBC off of YouTube, and there's your marketing, right, on zero budget, and it's even more powerful. But let's talk about the things that you actually planned to happen when you release Jen or when you release some of the other bands that you've dealt with?
Well, I think with Jen, I mean, it's really interesting, the building up to the moment where Smooth Radio played it. I mean, that morning was a big validation for everything that we collectively had worked towards. If for no other reason than, you know, what happened was we woke up, Jen and I looked at social media, and there were all these comments. We're like, where is this coming from? Because this wasn't like this yesterday. And we went and we scrolled down and we scrolled down and we looked, and then we finally get to the source and find that it's this radio station, Smooth Radio. And we had never called the radio station. We had never contacted the radio station. They never contacted us. We, quite frankly, didn't even know the radio station existed until the moment that they played it. And yet they played the music. And that was the net result of close to a year's worth of marketing that we had collectively put together to get to that point. We didn't know it was going to be that station at that moment in that country at that time. What we did know was, who are the fans that are responding to this song? And we marketed to the people that fit that profile. And we knew throughout that process that the United Kingdom was always the second biggest country after the United States. So we spent a little bit more time marketing to people in that country. The better that we target, the more we're going to find people, and they will influence somebody, whether it's going to be somebody who's a friend or it's going to be somebody who is going to influence a radio station. In this case, we had a fan who influenced a radio station, which was just absolutely fantastic to see.
Jay, you know, one of the issues that live bands face, when I say live bands, somebody who primarily makes their money live, is just geography. It's tough to get places where you're not. And with digital, you don't necessarily have that. I mean, it's as easy to be promoted in England as it is in the United States, let's say.
It is, and it's great because, as I mentioned before, Bronze Radio has sold in about 40 countries. Jen's music is selling in probably about 25 to 30 different countries. We're selling dozens of copies a week in Canada, Australia, and plenty of other places. But for it to really move, you have to actually go to the country and you actually have to be on the ground floor. And, and Jen can tell you, in a 2-week period in March, she went to several cities in England, over to Ireland, then back to the United Kingdom, then back to the United States, to Nashville, then to LA to shoot a video, then to Philadelphia to play a show, and then back to the United Kingdom to do another radio show, and then back to New York to play a showcase at Rockwood Music Hall. You were very exhausted.
I was tired, yes, when I came home.
A lot of frequent flyer miles were racked up that week.
But again, all of us went into it knowing it was the right things to do at the right time. We didn't go into it saying we don't know what's going to happen. Every step of the way, we knew that her fan base in Philadelphia was growing. Rockwood Music Hall in New York, she's sold that room out twice, right? And we obviously knew we had momentum in the United Kingdom. So there's a lot of money, both label money and Jen's personal money, that's gone into this, but none of us are investing in anything that we aren't seeing pretty immediate returns from, which is, I think, a big switch to what the music industry is typically about.
You're listening to Music Business Radio, your backstage pass to the music business. I'm David Hooper, your host. With me today, Jay Frank, the owner of DigSin, singles-focused digital record label that allows subscribing fans to get music for free, and also Jenn Bostic, an artist on the label. And Jen, from an artist perspective, what is the greatest marketing lesson that you have learned from working with DigSin?
I am constantly learning things from Jay, but social media, I think, has been number one. I'm getting now emails and phone calls from friends saying, how are you doing this on social media? And it's, consistency, it's timing, it's making sure that every single person that is connecting with you, you're connecting back, because without them, you wouldn't have a career.
Okay, so consistency, this is a daily thing that you're doing?
Yes.
If I send you a Twitter message, you're going to send one right back to me?
Yes.
You replied to these YouTube comments that you're at 1.3 million views. That's a lot of comments.
2,000 comments. Well, but you know what? I have to give Jen a lot of credit, because it's not just the fact that you're going to respond. It's the fact that you know that you're going to put the energy in. When Simon Bates started playing the record on his morning show on Smooth Radio, Jen stayed up until 1, 2 in the morning Nashville time so she could hear the record 7 a.m., 8 a.m. UK time. And then because of that, she would respond to Simon Bates on Twitter, who would respond back to her. And that's going the extra mile. Musicians who typically at 2 in the morning are either sleeping or partying, but instead she's communicating with the DJ who's communicating back to her. And that absolutely had a huge impact on us getting further and further along. To the point that actually Smooth Radio aired a 1-hour special on her, which, typically, as you know, for a radio station, we want to have you on. We want you to do a 10-minute segment, but, I think partially due to the relationship she's developed with everybody at that radio station, that turned into an hour special, which is just absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Jen, the song that you just performed for us, Jealous of the Angels, I actually saw you perform that on BBC, so that wasn't the debut radio performance that you had here on Music Business Radio.
No, I've been very blessed. When I just went over there for 3 weeks and got to play on a bunch of BBC radio stations, and the time before that I played on BBC Breakfast, so it's been really well received. Feel grateful.
Well, we may just have to have you do another one here, so we don't get one-upped by the BBC. Jay, what's next for DigSin?
Well, we just released a new artist that we signed from Sweden called Like Swimming, great indie pop band that are just very fun and enjoyable. So we're just starting the marketing process with them. Honestly, we've been really, really busy across the board, because, once you start actually having a hit, then the real work begins. So we've been just spending a lot of time and some early morning phone calls with Jen having such success in the UK. Bronze Radio Return, we're preparing to actually help with their full-length album, which comes out on June 4th. And then throughout all of that, we've actually had a lot of artists ask us for help, partially from the success of the book Hack Your Hit and the success of artists like Jen. People have said, hey, can we hire you to help us on this front? So my staff and I have actually got some consulting clients, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. I don't have a boring day, I can tell you that much.
Jen, Jay just said something. He said, once you start having a hit, that's when the real work begins. Would you agree with that? Is it tougher now than it was when you were maybe just starting out?
I don't know if tougher is the right word, but it's different, and it's still very, very busy, constantly working on stuff, whether it's social media or new songs or recordings, different things, and we just put out a new music video, so there's always something going on.
When do you find time to write?
In between tours. There's whenever inspiration strikes, like I make sure that I set aside the time, whether that's just sitting in the backseat of the car scribbling down as much as I can.
Well, that sounds like Jay's new book. I know Hack Your Hit, Jay, was coffee shops, train rides, early mornings, late nights.
Yeah, well, certainly, I think that's also part of the new model is social media to some degree didn't replace the other aspects of things you need to do in the music business. It added to the things that you had to do. So whether it's for myself in business or Jen on an artistic level, a lot of what you have to learn is that can you actually figure out the slivers of the day to do other things? And so I wrote Hack Your Hit in short chapter forms, partially because it was the most convenient way for me to be able to write at that particular juncture in my life. But I also recognize that for musicians, it's much better to have a book that they can pick up and read for 10 minutes at a time versus trying to digest a whole chapter, and that allows people to be able to pick up concepts and actually implement them a lot more easily than, say, here's a chapter with a lot of ideas.
Jay, we're running out of time. Anything that you want people to know that we haven't gotten into? There was so much more. I wish we'd gotten into your book a little more. We'll have to have you back for a third time.
Well, sure, but I think you can go to futurehitdna.com for all the information on my book, and you can download a free chapter. I've just been really blessed with all the artists who are on our record label, and again, any of the songs, you can go to our website DigSin.com and download songs for free. And I just thank you for the opportunity to come in and just talk about this.
Well, thank you guys for being here. It's absolutely worth going to DigSin.com. Also, DigSin.com.
However you'd like to pronounce it.
Just spell it, DIGSIN.com. Jenn Bostic is at JennBostic.com. That's JENN Bostic.com. Guys, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Jen, you want to play one more for us?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll let you introduce it. You tell me what you want to play, and we'll do it.
Well, this song is called Not Yet, and it is one that I wrote with Barrett Yagretzi, my producer, and it was in my frustration toward the music business, but I think it's for anybody who's out there following a dream.
So, Jen, I'm going to let you have the final word with this song. That's perfect. For more from us, check us out online at musicbusinessradio.com. Not Yet, Jenn Bostic on Music Business Radio. I will see you next week when I'll interview another industry guest.
Heavy eyes and restless heart, ordinary finds a way to fall apart. Life has got me out of breath. I'm tired from giving you all I have. You know that I keep chasing, I won't leave an ultimatum for you now. Just remember what you're saying has a funny way of coming back around. Gonna take your sweet time. It's just my heart you set aside. I've done everything I can, done everything you've asked. Think I'll stand here and wait. Think I'll fall, think I'll break. Think I'll give up and forget. Not me, not yet. Not me, not yet. Stop pretending I don't care. Comparisons won't get me. They won't get me anywhere. We're all diamonds in the rough. It doesn't matter what you think. I'm good enough. Climbing up this ladder and it doesn't really matter what you say. No matter what it takes, I'm gonna make it, yeah, I'm gonna find a way. Gonna take your sweet time. It's just my heart you set aside. I've done everything I can, done everything you've asked. You think I'll stand here and wait? Think I'll fall, think I'll break. Think I'll give up and forget. Not me, not yet. Not me, not yet. No, not me, not yet. Not me, if for a second there's a chance I'm giving in. 'Cause even if I fall, I'm gonna dust it off and get back up again. Gonna take your sweet time. It's just my heart you set aside. I've done everything I can, done everything you've asked. Think I'll stand here and wait. Think I'll fall, think I'll break. Think I'll give up and forget. Not me, not yet. Not me, not yet. No, not me, not yet. Not me, not yet. Not me, not yet.
Thanks for listening to Music Business Radio, a production of Tuned In Broadcasting Incorporated, Nashville, Tennessee. Recorded in the WRLT Lightning 100 studios. Music Business Radio is produced by Gary Crane, David Hooper, and Dan Buckley. Special technical assistance by Tom Hansen. With Pro Tools post-production by Justin Hamill and Dan Buckley. And Lester said, the train leaves in 5 minutes. For information on syndication, guest booking, demo derby music, or downloading previous episodes, visit musicbusinessradio.com.
Music Business Radio.